my name is Beck and welcome to the biggest unhaul I think I have ever done. I've moved house and I have a ton of books that I've decided I don't want to put on my bookshelves anymore. Some of these I have genuinely quite enjoyed, but I just don't want to keep them anymore, and that is really the only grounds for me unhauling them. Others I've just decided I don't want to finish the series for, and some of them are just old and I don't really want to reread them. I read them so long ago that I don't feel the need to keep them anymore. So I thought for this video I might just run through all of the titles, and then if I've got anything to say about anything specific, I will stop and let you know. But let's get into this massive stack. Harry Potter, but in different languages. I think this one's Japanese, and I'm not sure if this one is French or not. The Messenger by Marcus Zusak, who also wrote The Book Thief. 1,000 Perfect Notes by C.G. Drews, and also the arc of the same book. This is an Australian author, and I was delighted to read this when it initially was published. I think I have a review on my blog for it. That's how old this is. A lot of the books I have here were books that were stacked at my parents' house in my old bedroom, double stacked behind my bookshelf that used to be on display in some of my older videos. These have been hanging around for a long time. Take Three Girls and Tin Heart, both of them Australian young adult, and then Summer Skin as well, which is kind of young adult but a little bit older because they're college age. A Quiet Kind of Thunder, which also kind of fits the bill, although this is not Australian. We have another Harry Potter book, and another copy of Tin Heart, this time the proof, but also I've got A Shadow's Breath. I think I unhauled the paperback copy a long time ago and I kept this arc. I don't need them, so they're going to. Ready Player One, which is a sci-fi that I read ages ago now. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which enjoyable, great movie, don't need it anymore. And then I've also got The Girl with All the Gifts, which is surprisingly a zombie apocalypse book. I listened to these on audio and I've still got the audiobooks on my login for Audible, so I don't need this anymore. It's also not in sync with how I imagine it. Like, apocalyptic books to me have to be dark coloured, and this is very yellow. It's very confusing to my brain. Queens of Geek by Jen Wilde, and the arc as well. This was a great Australian young adult about gamers. It was queer positive and excellent, but I feel again no need to keep it. I don't read a lot of YA anymore, so these were kind of just being kept for nostalgia and I don't need them. Corpse Light and Restoration. I have the first book Vigil around here somewhere, but some boxes I haven't unpacked yet, so maybe I'll do another unhaul again. Who knows? This is most of them though. So this is an urban fantasy that is an adult urban fantasy set in a state of Australia in Queensland. Pretty cool that it's set in Australia, but I don't need these anymore either. I've got my old hardback copy of New Moon, but then I also have this hilarious copy of Twilight that I first read when I initially got into Twilight in high school. Look at how ugly this cover is. I call it the pointy boob cover. This is absolutely going. I was like, I should hold on to these for nostalgia. I would hate these if I reread them now. But they informed my like quintessential beginning to young adult and my vampire obsession. So while I have memories attached to them, I need to get rid of these. The Sidekicks by Will Kostakis, Never Say Die by Anthony Horowitz, and the arc as well. I have a review of these on my blog, which is again illustrating how old they are. I love the Alex Rider series, and I did at some point plan to get all of them and then reread them, but I do not think that's gonna happen. Maybe I'll borrow them all on ebook from my library or something, but I'm in no rush, so I do not mind letting these go. Heart of Mist, which was a self-published fantasy book by an Australian author that I liked at the time, but again I feel no necessary need to hold on to this one. I like kind of having empty space on my bookshelves, and getting rid of all of these books is very therapeutic. Lexicon by Max Barry, a special edition of Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Initially I was keeping this for nostalgia because when I first finished writing my honours thesis in 2018, this was the first book that I read after reading academic work for an entire year, and my brain snapped this up like it was crack, and I've kept this because I thought I love this series. I read the rest of them and didn't enjoy them that much, but the first book was excellent and I'd love to see a film of it or something. I don't need to hold on to this anymore though. I've decided that I just need to let it go. Then I've got the Kaiju Preservation Society, which was a great sci-fi book, but I feel like this was just a popcorn read, like the way you'd put on an action movie. That's what this book was. It was very fulfilling in that sense, but I would like to pass it on to someone else now. God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. And then we've got Muse of Nightmares and Strange the Dreamer. I said that in the wrong order. This is book one, this is book two. I have book one as an advanced reading copy and it's up here on the shelf. I'm holding onto this for nostalgic purposes, even though that is a similar reason why I got rid of Red Queen. I'm holding onto the arc of Strange the Dreamer up there because when I started reading and reviewing books, that was the first advanced reader copy I ever got from any publisher to say, review this book for us. And when I opened that parcel, I screamed in joy because it is so gorgeous. And I actually enjoyed the book. I gave it 4 stars. So I thought I'm gonna keep the arc and I'll get rid of the paperbacks, and that will free up a little bit of room. We've got Senlin Ascends and A Memory Called Empire. The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is a popular fantasy that I just could not get into everybody's hype for it. The ending for me was not as good as I thought it would be, and I don't care about continuing, so it is going as well. Now don't panic when I say this next title, One Last Stop. I really love Casey McQuiston. They've got great books. I'm only getting rid of this because my friend Marie sent me a duplicate copy, and that duplicate has a signature in it, so I'm getting rid of my normal paperback. And then we've got a few more J.K. Rowling books, so The Beetle and the Bard, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Quidditch Through the Ages, and another Fantastic Beast. I just picked these up when I was working for a publisher pretty cheaply, and so I don't need to keep them, so away they go. Also in addition is the Dark Arts book. I don't think this is official. Maybe it is. Who knows? I'm no interest. None. Goodbye. I genuinely cannot remember if I've unhauled these before because I tend to fall into this habit of I'm going to get rid of these books. I do an unhaul video and then I put them in a box, and sometimes that box does not make it to a donation haul anywhere and I just end up putting it back in my cupboard or something. I do not know if I've unhauled these before, but this is the Knife of Never Letting Go Chaos Walking series by Patrick Ness, and I listened to all of these on audiobook, which is an excellent way to do it because the characters in this book, all the men in this town, can read each other's thoughts, and so the way that the audiobook is designed, it felt really scattered but in a good way. It was kind of like echoey and you get the sense that you're in amongst everybody but also being focused. I loved the first book, but I hated where the series went, and the ratings that I gave the books went down in the series as I read through. So I am not going to be keeping a relic to this series on my shelf anymore because I did not like it. So it is gone bye-bye. We've also got Black by Fleur Ferris and Neverland, 2 more Australian young adult books. Poison Study by Maria B. Snyder. I wish I read this when I was a teenager, but I didn't, so it doesn't have any nostalgia attached to it for me. And I wanted to love it, but it was fine, so I don't need to keep it. Another Australian young adult with Frankie. Tin Heart was another one by the same author. I like this author, but I don't need to keep these. And I've also got these Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Again, Amy Kaufman, Australian author. Don't need to reread this. I don't really care for like teenagey rom-coms in space, and that's what this was. Another J.K. Rowling book, which I am putting straight on my pile. Mao's Last Dancer, which is a book that I loved and I read during a literature class when I was 16. I've had it for a very long time. I'm now 29. I need to get rid of this now. When Michael Met Mina, which is again another Australian release, I believe. And then All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I met Jennifer Niven and she was absolutely lovely to me, but even though this book is personalized, I don't feel any connection to it anymore. It's been a long time, it's been several years now, and I think that someone else will get enjoyment out of it. Hopefully someone else who's named Beck, so that the signature in here matches whoever owns it next. I always feel weird getting rid of signed books, but if I encountered a signed book in an op shop, I just see that as it being cool, like it was owned by someone before, it has a previous life, so I shouldn't feel as bad getting rid of them. Wonder, which is a book that I never read and I have no interest in whatsoever. We Are the Ants, which I have read and I was interested in. I wanted to keep it because the cover is absolutely beautiful, but that is not enough of a reason, so on the unhaul pile it goes. Then we have the Chronicles of Narnia, which was read to me when I was a kid, but I feel like this has a lot of religious iconography and I don't want to hold on to it, I guess. I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence about this one because it's also very nostalgic and I like the films as well. I don't know, I might just keep it set aside in my unhaul pile and see whether my family still want me to keep it or not. I feel like this is not a decision I can make by myself. I need to make it as a joint decision. For some reason I have 2 gem books. I liked collecting crystals and stuff when I was like 16, 15. And I had obviously books that talked about all of their symbology and whatever. I don't care anymore. Then I've got The Trouble with Peace by Joe Abercrombie, which is the sequel to A Little Hatred. I thought I would love this series and it let me down a lot. and I loved book 1, so I kept it. It's actually, I'm sitting in front of it so you can't see it, but I thought I don't want to hold on to the rest of them because they're just going to take up space, and I did not love them. So I'm just going to keep the first book, which is also a hardcover, and it's very beautiful. I don't need to keep this. I gave it a 4, maybe a 3.5 stars, and then the last book I gave a 2.5 to 3 stars. I was very disappointed. And then similarly, I was disappointed in this one too. I'm keeping the trilogy and unhauling this, and that is Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. I actually also have the advanced reading copy of Iron Gold, but because this is a copy that you can't buy anywhere, I'm probably going to hold on to it for a little bit longer and figure out how to get rid of it. I think some people that I know through the book community here might like it, but I honestly do not know. And if I can't be bothered working it out, I'm just gonna hold on to it. But I'm getting rid of my actual paperback, so she's going. Then I have 5 more books left, and all of them are by the same author. Coincidentally, this author is an author I also love, and that is Brandon Sanderson. So I'm getting rid of Dark One because this comic was just a bit of a letdown. It was middle of the road. Actually, not even middle of the road, just kind of meh. I'm taking this as a sign to not continue any of his comics because I just don't like the format. I prefer prose by him. So this is out. And then his other series I need to get rid of too. So we've got Cytonic, which I found lackluster. We've got Skyward here, which I absolutely love, for the record, but I just had too many copies of it. So I've got 2 copies of Skyward. One is the paperback, one's the hardcover. And then I also have a paperback of Starsight as well. The rest of them are, I think, down here. I can't really see on the camera very well, but I'm obviously keeping some of them because I like the series, but Cytonic, she's in the bad books. I don't like her. I wanted a lot more from this, and it felt very surface level and not like Sanderson at all. And I do not plan on buying the compendium of the novellas because I listened to all of those on audiobook and I think they are a waste of time. I also have video content for the Skyward series if you want to check out my thoughts specifically. So on that note, I'm very glad that I'm getting rid of so many books. I'll not count them now because I don't want to waste my battery, but I will put the number on the screen so that you know how many I'm getting rid of because this feels epic. I love cleaning stuff out, and these books are not going to sit in a box in my cupboard and then just get restacked. These ones are being donated. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll come chat to you down below in the comments, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.